Imagine this. 6 months from now, you can't even recognize yourself because you become so much more productive. You don't just do more. Everything that you produce is of way higher quality too. This is what you're going to learn in this video. Why should you listen to me? Because when I adopted this practice, this is literally the same effect that it had on me. I always get more done and it's of higher quality and I will never go back. So in this video, I'll teach you what this deep work is and how can you generally apply it in your life. Now I'm going to give you step-by-step action steps so that you actually apply these changes to your life. Before, whenever I would sit down to work, I would literally get distracted so often, and it was often even like after 5 minutes. Constant messages on my phone, constant calls, people around me literally in my environment would often distract me to check this TikTok, my brother would say. A bunch of distractions. Or even worse, me out of habit, subconsciously not even thinking about it, just going on my phone and starting to scroll, watch some random YouTube videos. You can probably relate to this, don't you? I felt obviously awful and full of regret because I never produced any quality work and I produced so little. And I was very inconsistent, obviously, because if I would spend hours on social media, that means I didn't do any work that day. But thankfully, one day I found this concept of deep work and this changed everything. Literally, it states that there's two types of work, deep work and shallow work. So I learned that deep work is anything that I need to be very focused on what am I doing, okay? So this wasn't something easy. This was some hard task. For example, recording this video. Obviously, you could say physically it is easy, you just sit down and you talk, but you really have to concentrate in order to make the best video possible. Compare that to editing video. Or even better, just answering to messages, answering to emails. Obviously, that's an easy task that anybody can do, and you don't need to be fully concentrated when you're doing it. That's the difference. This is deep work, some hard work that you need to be fully focused and concentrated when you're doing it. And shallow work is easy task that anybody can do, and they don't have to be focused to do it. They can answer emails and at the same time, I don't know, cook or whatever. Since I learned this, I completely removed all the distractions I could. I actually was very careful about being very focused and prioritizing deep work and doing as little shallow work as possible. This skyrocketed my productivity and I would never ever go back. So whenever I sit down to work, there's no notifications that will go on my phone. Nobody can call me. Literally, nobody. My family, they know when I'm recording videos. They will not go into my room unless they really need to. It's an emergency of some kind. So there's no distractions. Also, internal distractions. My thoughts literally would often make it so I got distracted and I completely stopped what I was doing. This is why I started meditating too. This is what literally very successful people do. They do it for a reason. Because if somebody doesn't get distracted and the other person gets distracted every 20 minutes, who is more productive? This is a bonus lesson for you, literally. If I, for example, don't get distracted during the whole workday, and you get distracted every 20 minutes, every 5 minutes, who will get more done? How much time will you need to get back to what you were doing every single time? Will you even get back? This is the power of focus. And this is why you want to start meditating, because you cannot disable your thoughts while you're working. You can't do that. So the second best thing is start meditating. So this is a bonus tip. So just take a second right now to think and imagine how your life would look like in 6 months. What could you accomplish? Some huge project of yours, some goal, whatever it is, crush that goal. How would this impact? Not only would you achieve this goal, but all the other areas in your life. How would it look like in 6 months? Would you be even able to recognize yourself? So if you want to make this happen, here are the action steps for you, okay? Let's go. First, make a list of deep work tasks and shallow work tasks. So deep work tasks, hard, you need to completely be locked in. Shallow work, easy. Now when you know which are which, you want to know when to do deep work and when to do shallow work. Always in the morning, if that's when you're functioning the best. If you're not a night owl who works at night, which you probably aren't, then in the morning, you want to make sure to not check email, to not do any shallow work before your deep work, okay? You want to make sure that you go straight into that deep work when you actually start working. And you want to make sure to not split that deep work. You want to make sure to work on deep work tasks till as long as possible. So you want to think about it as like an hour and a half block of focused work and then a break, or 2 hour block and then break and then again. And you want to do shallow work way later in the day. You never want to switch between the two. First deep work, unless you have to go to some meeting. But if you don't have to, tell them. For example, somebody in your company wants you to go on a meeting with them and you're doing some deep work. Tell them, can we go at 3 p.m. if you work till 4? So you work on your deep work tasks from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. and only at 3 p.m. you go on a meeting. So you had 7 hours to do deep, impactful work that's actually gonna accomplish whatever you set out to accomplish. If you go on a meeting at 11 a.m., everything that you do after that is gonna be way less quality. There's been studies that even slight disturbances can disrupt your productivity like crazy, and let alone a meeting that's half an hour long or an hour. And so that's the second tip. You want to do the deep work and without any switching tasks, only do deep work when you have most energy. If that's in the morning, then schedule that in the morning and do as little of shallow work and always after deep work is done. That's how you want to schedule it in your Google Calendar or whatever you use to track your time, to use time mindfully. A bonus tip is ask, do you even need to do some of this shallow work? Or if you do need to, for example, you need to answer to email, it's your responsibility to the company or to your clients or customers. Instead of doing it literally every 20 minutes, every 30 minutes, or even more often, you want to do it twice a day or once a day. But this is just one thing to save way more time and answer still all the same emails. Third action step is just optimize your environment. As I said, physical environment, you don't want to be able to get distracted by anything. This is key to actually doing deep work. Okay, so for physical environment, you want to make sure that there's some natural light in your workspace, that there's some fresh air in, so open a window. You want to make sure that your phone is not in the room that you're working in, that your desk is clean, organized. But there's some plants even, maybe, so it's way nicer to work. You want to make sure that the chair you're sitting on, for example, is comfortable. Nothing crazy, but it's going to make it so easier to work hard and not get distracted. And for digital environment, you want to make sure that you remove all the notifications, literally turn them off, and put your phone on Do Not Disturb mode. Also, you can use grayscale mode. This is what every phone has. You just go into settings, type in grayscale mode, it will pop up immediately. You turn on that, and your phone will be way more boring. And you'll be like, what? This is what you want to do because you want to focus on your work and not procrastinate when you said that you will do the work. And maybe the most important thing is an app called Freedom. Literally, set a recurring session so that every time you work, from whenever you work till whenever you work, you cannot go on email. You cannot go on social medias, on forums, or whatever. And before you start working, you want to make sure that before you start your work, you don't check email, you don't check Reddit or whatever forum you go on, or watch some random videos, scroll on social media a little bit. You want to make sure to not let any novel stimuli before your work ends. That's the perfect scenario. So these are the changes that if you do, your life is completely gonna change, like no joke. If you want to take this a step further, this is a bonus tip. As I said, this is all to remove the distractions from outside world, notifications, phones, people around you, but there's two forms of distractions. And second form of distractions are internal. That this is your thoughts. You think of something, some thought comes to you, and you start thinking about it, and you completely forget what you were doing. You start watching videos, you do whatever it is, but you completely forget about what you were doing at that moment, and then you have to go back. And if you don't block social medias and apps, this could be hours spent on them, and then feeling like a failure, feeling awful. Besides adopting those changes, you want to start meditating. So every time you get a thought, you can recognize it way earlier and literally get back to what you were doing way faster. Literally, I learned this from people who are very successful, and they very often recommend 20 minutes a day. So start slower, start with 5-10 minutes, but you want to make your minimum standard that you meditate 20 minutes a day. So that's the bonus tip. This is what I do every single day. I love it. It helps me a bunch. This is a great activity to do on your breaks. So between your deep work blocks, that's it for the video. If you generally do these changes, your life will completely change, especially if you watch some of my other videos. So if you're an entrepreneur who wants my personal help, becoming more productive, getting more done, having way better work-life balance, then literally click the link in the description of this video. It's a no-brainer. And for everybody else, I'm glad I helped you, and I hope you actually do the action steps, change your life, and let me know how it goes. If you found this video helpful, like the video, and I'll see you in another one. Bye.